you ever wish your day wasn't dictated by your health? Are you tired of being tired all the time, or is pain holding you back from enjoying your time with your family? Would you like to manage your symptoms holistically, but you just don't know where to begin? I am so excited that you're here. This podcast will help you understand how natural remedies work so you can relieve your symptoms and live a fuller life. My name is Penny. I'm an occupational therapist, past pharmaceutical rep, a mom, and a wife with a strong faith, and for 25 years, I battled through debilitating Crohn's disease. I took all the medicine and did all the surgeries that stole so much time with my family, but never truly healed me. I finally realized if I was going to survive this disease, I needed to open my stubborn eyes to alternative solutions. I researched how perfectly our bodies work with plants and a lifestyle that made my health less of a burden to my family and aligned so beautifully with my faith and my medical training. If you are ready to reclaim your life with holistic options that are easy to implement as a busy mom and provide relief that lasts, this is the podcast for you. Hello. This is Penny. Welcome back to the Becoming Natural podcast. I am your host, and I am so excited to just keep it rolling from last week's episode. This week, we are going to dive into quick, natural, and effective ways to soothe your stomach pain when a flare-up begins. Crohn's pain, gut pain, any kind of pain can hit out of nowhere and leave you feeling completely debilitated. So today I am talking about how to have more natural and effective pain management success with Crohn's disease, episode number 29, because you are not alone. In this episode, we're diving into natural, fast-acting remedies to ease discomfort and help you feel better quickly. Dealing with stomach pain from Crohn's disease can be exhausting, especially for busy moms who need quick and effective relief. Whether you're dealing with a sudden flare-up or chronic gut pain, these simple, effective tips, including gut-friendly teas or drinks, easy-to-digest food, stress management techniques, hydration hacks, and a few of my own personal tricks will help soothe your digestive system without the overwhelm. I have put them all to the test, I promise you. Keep listening to learn how small, practical changes can make a big impact on managing Crohn's symptoms and regaining control of your health in the heat of the moment. Not a good moment, but I'm having a moment, kind of a moment. So I wanted to just say thank you to I Hate My Guts too. She or he wrote a review for Becoming Natural, and I wanted to read it really quick, but what a godsend to know I have someone in the trenches with me. Not too complicated, but practical solutions for anyone with Crohn's or chronic autoimmune disease. So nice to have help getting healthy. Thank you so much. I hate my guts, and I am sorry that we all hate our guts so much. We are going to get them healthy. So first things first, you've been diagnosed with any sort of gut issue. Your stomach is upset. You might have diarrhea or vomiting, burning from ulcer pain, pain from gas. You're nauseated, unable to eat. When your stomach is upset, you cannot function. I totally hear you. And it's so hard for others to understand if they have not been in your shoes. But if you're in a moment, as I used to say to my husband, I'm having a moment, which is not a good moment, we have to learn how to deal. And there's a few tricks that I have that I used myself. Maybe they'll work for you. Maybe they can help someone along the way. Some of them seem kind of silly, and other ones are probably something that more go-to for some people, but I will tell you some of the sillier ones work the best for me. So we went into detail in episode 28 about inflammation, and when inflammation increases in the digestive tract suddenly, it can lead to cramping and bloating and terrible discomfort. A trigger can be anything from stress to diet, dehydration, or even certain medications. So identifying and knowing how to stay away from your triggers is vital. Number one, to help prevent a flare before it starts. Sometimes you just can't prevent a flare and you feel it coming. And I know that I used to panic because I would feel that tiny pain and I would panic knowing it's coming, and then it would just only aggravate the intensity or the pain. But when I was sickest, I was mom to 3 little boys, 2 and 3 years apart. I was so determined to be a normal mom and not let my sickness prevent them from doing something fun. So I would muscle through a lot of my days. But I did learn a few of my own tricks that might be lesser known remedies that can help you or a loved one through a flare. So I have listed 8 of my personal self-treatments that I used successfully. And please know that if you are in a truly emergent state, there is nothing wrong with going to the emergency room. I went more times than I can even count. But if I was just showing signs of an impending flare or dealing with my regular pain, unfortunately, it's regular for us, right? But these are 8 of my best tricks that I have up my sleeve to help myself. And they actually help me in other times as well. And I tell my kids to do some things just when they start feeling bad. So number one, I had terrible ulcer pain. So if you have ulcer pain, this is a really, really good one. But I had multitudes of ulcers in my stomach, and they were ulcers on top of ulcers. And I used to buy the largest bottle of liquid heartburn medication, and I would just guzzle it. I would go through it in a week. And now I'm a little wiser, and I look at the ingredients and want to puke because I understand why I couldn't live without it. It is loaded with sugars, fake sugars, and all sorts of ingredients that not only feed the pain, unfortunately, but they're just terrible ingredients that we shouldn't be having those ingredients. And here we are trying to use it as a medication. So it was a temporary relief causing longer term problems and more need for the relief. So I got stuck in this vicious cycle. So if you need instant pain from heartburn or ulcer pain, mix just a little bit of baking soda in a small shot glass of water and shoot it. My husband actually taught me this one. No, it does not taste good at all, but it tastes like chocolate cake compared to the amount of pain that I endured. The idea is that the baking soda neutralizes the pH of the acid in your stomach, and it's almost instant. That causes so much pain with your ulcers. Where prescription and over-the-counter acid-reducing medications actually prevent the acid from being secreted. So there's different methods of action here. And that's great to reduce the acid, but that acid is actually incredibly valuable in breaking down your food. So without that acid to break down your food, you're going to develop further complications eventually when your food isn't capable of breaking itself down and ultimately rotting in your stomach. I know that sounds gross, but that's what my doctor told me. It literally sits there and rots, waiting to be broken down. So by neutralizing the pH in your stomach, you aren't preventing the production of acid or the breakdown of your food, but you're providing pH relief to the painful area where the acid is burning. It is a natural way to treat the pain of heartburn or acid reflux without taking, industrial chemicals, fake sugar, terrible ingredients that I guzzled for years that only feed our gut issues long term. Again, I want to say, I'm not saying it tastes good, but I am saying that it is instant, and I do mean instant relief. So get a little shot glass. I can't even tell you exactly how much, just a pinch of baking soda. Start with that because it is, like I said, it doesn't taste good. So just shoot it as fast as you can and then chase it down with something good. But that will give you instant relief from any sort of acid-related burning in your stomach. Number 2. So many people laugh at me when I say this, but once you try it, you will love it, as have other people. If I got nauseated and I felt like my food was not passing through my stomach or my strictures, the most incredible relief to me was a hot bath. Yes, heat is a form of relief, period, but the bath to me was pivotal. Laugh if you must, but getting in a hot bath makes your food weightless. So that food that was just pushing and trying to go through those painful spots and causing so much pain for me, I guess we can call it hydrotherapy, but my pain always went away when I would get in a hot bath. It just provides relief from the pain, and I think it helps calm my body. It stops the stress, possibly the spasming that's going on in my gut when I'm overthinking the pain because of that fear that I told you that I get into this long vicious circle of pain when I am worried about the pain that's going to come. So then I go down a rabbit hole. So the bath is hot, it's relaxing, it takes the weight, and better yet, I add my favorite CBD bath bomb, which probably heard me say it before, but I'll link it up in the show notes, that helps me remove the inflammation because CBD is massively anti-inflammatory, and this is a clean CBD that I love to talk about. And to this day, the 4, quote, men under my roof, if they feel bad or sore from sports, they all go straight to a hot bath with the CBD bath bomb. It is everybody's go-to, and they will swear that it works. They will testify under oath it is the fastest and best relief for sore muscles post-sports or for an upset stomach. It relaxes them quickly. I have trained them very well, and I'm very proud of that because I know a lot of men may think that baths are for women, but my boys come home from lacrosse or football or baseball, and they say, where are the bath bombs? So I stock up during sports season, that's for sure. If baths aren't your thing or you aren't able to hop in a hot bath, the heat part is a huge part of the relief as well. So heating pads, hot herbal teas, peppermint is particularly soothing for stomachs, which is known for soothing gut spasms. Also ginger, so ginger tea decreases nausea, any kind of ginger anything as long as natural ginger. Anything with chamomile is also calming for the digestive tract and relaxing for the body overall. Number 3. If I can do this before I get into that bath, I do, but always, always, always brush your teeth. I know this is where everybody thinks I'm crazy as a loon, but if I'm nauseous, I want to get whatever that taste is that I just ate, even though it may have been something that tasted really good, it caused me to have pain. I want clean teeth and a clean mouth without any remnants of that taste in my mouth when I climb into that big, hot, steamy bath where I can completely relax. And clearly, I have no scientific evidence to provide for you to correlate clean teeth and feeling better, but I am here to tell you that it works. Just like you don't want anyone telling their stories about how sick they got when one time, as you're nauseous and hanging your head over the toilet, nothing is worse. Getting the taste of whatever food just made you feel bad out of your mouth and having clean teeth while you soak in the bath is truly a game changer. So don't knock it till you try it, sweet friends. Give that one a shot. Number 4, find a way to relax. We all have different methods of relaxation because some things are relaxing for me that aren't for you and vice versa. But for me, if I have the tiniest hint of a pain in my stomach, like I've said, I panic. So I panic because I knew that I could go from 0 out of 10 to 10 out of pain in a second flat, and that increased my feeling of fight or flight, increasing my acid production, increasing my pain. So find your calm. That hot bath, of course, was always my go-to, but if a bath wasn't an option, if I had that moment when I was out and about and toting my 3 kids and their friends to the park, think about how you're going to manage that situation before you get into it. So do you have like a peaceful playlist of songs that you can listen to? I think I've mentioned this before when I was doing EMDR. I have my calming playlist whenever I get into moments in the hospital when I can smell plastics because plastics have a trigger for me from all my surgery. So you can do a playlist. Can you find a quiet place to sit or pray or focus on your deep breathing way down into the gut? If you'll notice, whenever you're in pain or whenever you're having a moment, you tend to take shallow breaths, and that's not helping us heal. You need to take deep breaths down into your gut. It's kind of like that in through the nose and out through the mouth, and get that healing oxygen all the way down as far as you can to fully relax our bodies. And breathing that deep slows us down, and it slows our tempo, and it calms us. It really relaxes our bodies by focusing on that breathing. So the calming playlist handy on top of the deep breathing, or you can listen to a book. I don't know if you're Audible listeners or scripture. I had a difficult time reading when I was in the midst of a flare myself, but if you can read, then go for it. The key is simply to find something that you can rely on, that you have prepared before you get into that awful moment, to help remove the stressors and find your calm again so that you can, as I would say, muscle through it. Number 5. When my babies had gas, we gave them those little gas drops, and I can't even remember what they were called, but they're little homeopathic gas drops. And the idea behind those were that they bring all the little bitty bubbles of gas together into one big bubble. And then as we're burping babies, they burp it out with ease and give their big old burp. And that's exactly what we need as an adult. So for me, I personally feel that when I had painful gas or gurgling in my stomach, I would drink a sip of Coke to soothe my stomach. And let the record state, I know that it is full of all sugar and all the bad things that I tell you not to do, but it's my vice. If you like sparkling water or any sort of benign carbonated beverage, it serves the same purpose as gathering all those little gas drops together into one big gas bubble that you can burp out. And I know as an adult that sounds crazy, but we do it for our babies, so why can't we do it for ourselves? That carbonation will help bring those bubbles together and have one big belch to relieve that pressure on your stomach, especially if you have ulcers and that stretching of your stomach is so painful. So by the time I was so severely sick and my stomach was so ulcerated, that stretching in my stomach from the gas was like a balloon, I guess. Like imagine a balloon going inside your stomach and just you're blowing it up and just stretching it out even more and more, and getting that carbonation down there to turn a bunch of gas bubbles into one big bubble was life-giving. Number 6, if you are in crisis and you can't eat anything, but you have to function, find a way to avoid eating any food that could be triggering to you. Whether it's your normal triggers or not, go bland completely. Stick to easily digestible food like Steamed vegetables, make sure they're steamed so they're easy to digest. White rice, bland, or lean protein like eggs, scrambled eggs, or lean chicken. Skip dairy, skip gluten, and high fiber foods during a flare. I personally loved fresh oatmeal. I know that people are debating oatmeal right now for its value or its not value, but I also had a little bit of milk in it, but milk didn't trigger me. And I loved that warmth of the oatmeal on my stomach when it was spasming, and I could feel the spasms. I don't know if you can feel your spasms, but it's just like my stomach was just kind of spasming. I don't know a better word than that. But if you've never heard of it, the brat diet can be really helpful and kind of supports what I had to say. It's not a long-term fix, nor does it have all the nutrients that you need. However, it's bland and it can help rather quickly meaning within the day or so. Even if you have a GI bug, this is really good for recovery in order to get quality food in your body. And it's easy to digest when your stomach just needs a rest. So the rationale is that these foods can help firm up your stools and reduce the frequency of any diarrhea or vomiting, allowing that gastrointestinal tract to rest and recover. The components of BRAT, B-R-A-T is what it stands for, are bananas. Bananas are rich in potassium. They help replenish nutrients lost during vomiting or diarrhea. R is rice. Plain white rice is easy to digest and can help with binding of your stools. A is applesauce. It provides pectin, which may aid in firming up stools. T, toast. Plain, unbuttered toast can be soothing and easy on the digestive system. So the brat is kind of an old school way of treatment, which I am not against old school ways, but it may or may not have pieces that do or don't work for you. Like if you have a gluten issue, clearly you can't have your toast unless you have some gluten-free toast. Or for me, rice tended to bother me because rice continues to expand once it's in your stomach. So the rice didn't work for me either. The whole idea is just getting some bland food in your body that helps bind up that food to help you have a better stool and allows the gut to relax so that it can rest and repair itself in the process. So I used mashed potatoes, just plain mashed potatoes instead of rice. That always helped me. And they were warm. And for me, I liked anything warm. It just felt very soothing on my stomach. So just be bland. Bland and simple to digest is the quickest way to feel better. Number 7, which this should actually be number 1, but get hydrated. Hydration will change you in so many ways that you don't expect because when you're dehydrated, it affects every part of your body down to your fingernails. I am a firm believer that our water that we are drinking and our bottled water for sure is not hydrating us one bit. I never really gave credence to hydration and feeling better until I started taking my trace mineral powder that I have talked about a million times daily in my water. It's called Hydrate. I'll link it up. It's clean, but it's all the trace minerals that we need and the minerals that actually hydrate our body, which is what we actually need to be getting and we used to get from our water that we're not getting now for whatever reason. That's a whole long podcast there. But I cannot begin to tell you how great I feel now that I take Hydrate every single day. I used to just take it on a hot day, or I used to take it when I was skiing, but now I just take it every day. I never have muscle cramps after working out. I don't get headaches anymore. It's like, it's clean. It doesn't use loads of sodium to retain water or fake sugars for flavor. So there's a hydration product that a lot of people use, and if you look at the sodium, it's just loaded with salt, and that's terrible for you. So this is actually the minerals. It's what you need. It's what your body needs to get itself hydrated. So that's my other favorite product. I'll link up with the bath bombs. Same company, so you can buy them all at once, and I'll link them up in the show notes and the blog. I never realized exactly how dehydrated I was until I started drinking my Hydrate Daily. Okay, so I feel like that I need to insert those quick fixes for my gut friends out there listening, saying, just help me like right now. I remember feeling so lost and so confused because I didn't have an immediate response to food. So I was never sure what was hurting me or what wasn't. Unfortunately, I used to pray for that. So I would know what was hurting me so I wouldn't eat it. And then that prayer was quickly answered and pain became my primary, my entire day was pain. So I just want to say that not everybody knows what hurts them. So there's going to be a lot of trial and error. And that's why, food diary is good, which I've mentioned before. But number 8, get moving. I know this is the absolute last thing that you feel like doing whenever you want to curl up in a ball and cry. The hospital where I worked had a gym attached to it, and I was on my feet all day. I had a very physical job as an occupational therapist, lifting patients, moving, running floor to floor. And by the end of the day, I was absolutely exhausted, not only for my job, but just having Crohn's. And typically I was running a low-grade fever and dying to get home and crawl in my bed. Of course, I knew about that low-grade fever because of that amazing journal that I linked in the last podcast. I'll link it again here. But I forced myself to go directly to the gym. I would not let myself go home because I would never, ever come back. I would get home and I would crash. So I would go straight to the gym. So if you work, go straight to your gym. And I started first working out with cardio and feeling better and better each minute because if I felt like my food was moving through, it was using up that energy and breaking down my food. And by the time I had done about an hour of cardio, I was ready for weights. I worked out for 2 hours every single day after work. That was already physically demanding, but I can tell you that I never felt better. And as hard as it was to do and to get there, I did it enough that I knew on the other side of this, I'm going to feel amazing. And that was my motivation, was just to feel good so I could function. So not only does exercise get your food moving through your system, it uses up the energy from the food that's still in your gut, but it also increases your dopamine factor, that feel-good hormone. You get that dopamine fix. So I always knew if I dragged myself to the gym, on the other side, I would feel amazing, and I always did. Another time, as an example, I was on the most beautiful and perfect vacation just with my husband. My kids were with the grandparents. We were supposed to be having a relaxing no-kid beach vacation, but my stomach was so sick. It was terrible. The hotel had only fresh and organic food, so I was eating wonderful food from their garden. The fish was freshly caught, but I couldn't take a bite. I did not feel well, and I was so crushed that I was supposed to be having a fabulous vacation and I was miserable. The resort, by the grace of God, had this amazing outdoor spa. And in broken Spanish, I explained to the woman that I was sick and that my stomach hurt. And she immediately knew exactly what to do. It was like a total gift. And she got to work and she had this like ball that was cloth and it was kind of tied into a knot. And I was so relieved because a lot of massage people don't want to work on your stomach or on your abdomen, but she went straight to my abdominal area. She massaged and rubbed my stomach with oils. Who knows what they were? I should have asked. But when I left her, my pain was completely gone. And I firmly believe that she just really massaged my gut and massaged my food down the normal path of how it's supposed to exit and kind of worked it through those strictured spots. So that gentle massage saved my entire trip. If you don't have the energy to work out or trying to get a massage or simply massaging your own stomach, I would be remiss not to mention that you need to look at the image of your stomach and the intestines on, Google it, and be sure that you are pushing your food towards the exit of your stomach, because after your food goes down your small intestines, your large intestine actually makes kind of this square and it goes over, up, over, and down. So you want to make sure that you're not pushing your food in the wrong direction when it hits your colon. That's just a little side note there. So if your pain is ever severe, persistent, or accompanied by a fever, for sure call your doctor. Once again, always be listening to your body. Literally have your head on a swivel. I learned when my bones started to hurt that I needed to go to the ER because that meant I needed a blood transfusion. I had perforated ulcers and I was apparently starting to lose more blood than I knew. And it was not evident. I didn't know that. And so my bones would hurt. Everybody's going to have their tell. Your body is talking to you, and just listen to your body so that you know how to best take care of it. If the pain in my stomach was constant and not dull, I went to the ER. Never be afraid of going to the ER, my friends. The first thing they do is hydrate you when you walk in the door. So many times that quick dose of hydration and that IV gives your body just this huge boost. And sometimes that's all you really need to get over that hump. So please remember that you are not alone. When I was diagnosed 30 years ago, and I promise I'm not that old, I was alone. I had every bit of love and support from my family and my besties that knew I was even sick. But when it came down to fighting pain and putting one foot in front of the other to muscle through life while I was in excruciating pain, it feels very, very lonely. There are the days I clung to my faith and I prayed my heart out for healing. No one truly understood what I was going through, even my husband, as hard as he might try. Today, you have me, for one, but there are so many resources on the internet, Facebook groups, in-person support groups, homeopathic doctors that I didn't even know what homeopathic meant back then. Crohn's can be very unpredictable, but small changes can make big differences. So healing takes time, but listening to your body, listening to your symptoms, and knowing your triggers. Your triggers are not the same as everybody else's. And finding what works for you is key so that you could be prepared before that moment comes. When you feel it coming, you can save yourself, hopefully, before it becomes a full-blown attack. But just never forget that you're not alone. As I learned, it was in my darkest hours that I grew the most in my faith, leaned the heaviest on God, and found my purpose and my testimony in life when I thought that I was completely alone, because it was just me and God, like working through the pain. It didn't matter what was coming from around me or if I could even hear the voices around me speaking to me and comforting me. It was just, it's a lonely feeling. So it was the darkest time in my life that really is what increased my faith for sure. 2 Corinthians 12:9-10 is one of my favorite verses, and I'll probably repeat it 100 more times because it kind of became my little motto for survival. But starts with verse 9. It says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses so that Christ's power may rest on me. That is why, for Christ's sake, I delight in weaknesses, in insults, in hardships, in persecutions, in difficulties. For when I am weak, then I am strong." It was when I realized that I had no control over my health that I felt the most desperate and the most weak. But 2 Corinthians tells us that we should boast about our weakness, because that is when God is in control and when his power shows up and is made perfect in our weakness. Then when we are weakest, we are strong from the strength of the Lord and not of ourselves. It was a difficult lesson to learn and a very hard place for me to be, because I'd been having to be strong, in quotes, and muscling through so much in life that I was very much in control. But when I let go of muscling through and of putting on a happy face and relinquishing my healing to the Lord, it was my first step forward in total and complete healing, both physically and spiritually. So God is good all the time. So see you next week, and we're going to dive into inflammatory foods, one of the big points on our list, and foods to avoid in order to keep us healthy, regardless of if we are diagnosed with an illness or if we are sick. There are inflammatory foods that all of us should avoid, healthy or unhealthy alike. We are learning more and more how to treat our body and how to treat our body well. So I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you've enjoyed today's episode, hit that follow button, leave a 5-star review if you're so willing, and help spread the message of Becoming Natural by sharing it with a friend. Check out the resources in the show notes and join the email list to stay on top of all the latest and greatest happenings at Becoming Natural as we roll out exciting new things while we grow. Until next time, take those baby steps to a more natural life, and always give yourself grace. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. See you next week.